Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the board, we welcome everyone that's in the boardroom as well as those that are virtual joining us this morning. We appreciate your participation. We have an agenda laid out for us this morning, so we'll start on that immediately. The first thing is we'll call this meeting to order. It'll be at 8 o'clock this morning, Thursday morning. We'll have a prayer by Commissioner Cook and pledge allegiance by myself. And then after we get seated, we'll proceed into a roll call by Clerk Fetting. So please rise to join us in prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you so much for this time. We can come and make decisions, Lord. Just pray that every decision we make might be in the best interests of the residents of Tuscola County. Be with our military, Lord, today in a special way. Guide and protect them. Be with our first responders. Guide and protect them also. Thank you for everything you do for us in your precious and holy name.
Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Fetting, will you proceed with the roll call, please?
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Commissioner Barrios. Present. Commissioner Bardwell.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn is absent. Commissioner Luke.
Here.
Commissioner Cook.
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
All right, thank you. So the first item on our agenda this morning is adoption of the agenda. Are any items to add, or is there a motion to adopt as provided?
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the agenda as presented. Excuse me.
Moved by Commissioner Cook and supported by Commissioner Barrios to adopt the agenda as presented this morning. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, our agenda is adopted. We'll proceed with that. Next item is action on previous meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the meeting minutes before a motion is set forth to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the meeting minutes from the October 16th, 2025 regular meeting.
I'll support that.
Moved by Commissioner Lewis, supported by Commissioner Cook to adopt the meeting minutes from the October 16th, 2025 regular meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing or seeing none, the meeting minutes are adopted as well. As we move forward, this is the brief public comment period for our agenda items only. Is there anyone who would like to brief the board or approach the board on any of the agenda items this morning? Seeing or hearing none, we'll let the record show that we did offer public comment this morning for the agenda items. And then we'll move on to consent agenda. Which we have one item on it. Is there anyone who will set forth a motion to approve the consent agenda provided?
Mr. Chair, I move to a consent agenda minutes and the consent agenda items from the October 27th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted.
I'll support that.
Moved by Commissioner Lewis, supported by Commissioner Cook, to that the consent agenda minutes and consent agenda items from October 27th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted. That's the motion. Is any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda has now been adopted as well. So the next criteria is new business, and our first item of business this morning is the Michigan Sign Council renewal fiscal year 26. Jeffrey Stewart, Manager of Sign Council. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's always a pleasure to come before you and kind of explain where we're at in terms of our grant proposal. And there's been quite a delay. Thanks to some issues in Lansing, it had to be ironed out politically. And so it has delayed our particular grant in being approved. The good news is it was approved last week, and the funds should be distributed as soon as we sign the contract that is going to be presented by the NIDC Council in Lansing. Okay. It is a substantial reduction from last year's fiscal year project cost. I believe last year we were looking at an estimated cost of $2,406,226.80 as being approved, and those funds were in fact presented to the county from people in Lansing. This year's request has been reduced. It is now $1,874,000. That's really a reflection of a lot of changes with regard to the county practices that will relate to the payment of expert witnesses as well as the reduction in training costs that the state indicated we need to kind of reduce in lieu of, the trend that is going across, and I'm sure your honors are quite aware of the fact that across the board, there seem to be cuts in funding. Be that as it may, we are seeking a motion to allow the chairman of the board to sign and approve a contract with the Michigan Indigent Defense Council in Lansing for the grant funds. That would be a total. It would be a total of $2,129,768.24, of which the county share, as previously set, has remained unchanged. That would be $255,199. So I'll be open to questions if there are. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Any questions this morning?
No.
Any questions?
No, I think I do. You went from there was a large cut, and you said you were directed by the state to cut back. There was a large cut. How did that impact everything? Because that was significant from what I noticed.
Well, how it impacts everything, we're operating short on the train. So I've just taken on, I have taken on the responsibility of standing in arraignments more. So that's about $82,000 that we're not spending, so to speak, but we have a 6-month window to fill that position. The other thing, there was a big encouragement, big push to pay for private investigators as well as assistance for trial preparation for cases that were going to felony trial work. That work, minimally for say, an expert witness, a doctor, or some type of expert in the field of scientific knowledge. Those start at $500. So you can see with a criminal case that's going to trial in a relatively short period of time, that expert is going to be billing us somewhere between $4,000 to $5,000 per case. So what we're doing right now is we're reducing, the number of expert witnesses that are approved, as well as the number of investigators that are going to be approved for the attorneys who are operating criminal defense for constituents here in the county. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Not sure that I can, but it makes sense.
And the other issue, there was some money earmarked for applications that relate to computers as well as office equipment. We cut that severely to the tune of, I think, about $40,000 to $40,000.
All right.
Chairman,
Yes.
Jeff, so who authorizes these experts? Do you have to authorize, you authorize it?
Correct. There's a form that I keep a record of as to every expert that's requested by a criminal defense attorney on our roster. That form has to be approved, and usually the number is set at a starting point. And if we go well beyond that, then it requires further review and approval by myself. However, there have been a handful of cases where the lawyers did not seek further approval. And unfortunately, I've had to step in and let them know that there'll be a substantial reduction in the cases assigned to them if they don't follow the guidelines that I'm required, as well as the county is required, to follow as a result of the grant funding and the contract that we signed. I hope that answers your question.
Yep, thanks.
I have just a question,
Clerk?
if the board would allow. Just because we're in some uncertain times and we don't know where our other employee raises are going to be, I didn't know if this included raises for staff within this part of our department, because we're not for sure where that's going to lie for other employees. And that wasn't addressed. So just
Yeah.
trying to see where that precedence is starting with
Yeah.
this department.
I have no idea
Thank
how
you,
to
board.
answer that question, other than to indicate that the state usually builds in every budget a raise that is corresponding with the cost of living. That's not really going to happen here. In answer to your question, I'm not at liberty to comment about the county employees and the decisions the board has to make with regard to county employees.
Yeah, because it says there it's 48,000 represents a pay increase of $25 an hour.
Or just the office manager.
Just for the office manager. So
And
who,
I believe that is an increase as well.
so who decides that, Jeff?
That's decided by a step level increase that I would be in charge of putting together. It's what we would call a top level type of.
So does the state dictate that, or does the county dictate
It's a
that?
state. And that, of course, is,
Yeah,
that's a recommendation from the regional manager. So
what are you gonna do?
It's going to impact you probably. Thank you. I apologize for interrupting. I just think it'll be an impact to the county if that's approved, because I believe,
I don't see that as happening whatsoever, because this is a state grant. And in terms of a step level increase, that reflects actually experience and time over time that a particular position has been fulfilled. So what we're doing is comparing an apple to an orange, in my opinion. So other than that, that's all I have at this time.
Well, I have a couple of questions relating to that as I'm thinking this through. Well, first of all, just let me reframe what I think you said is basically when you present a contract to this board, the state has pretty much put it together.
That's correct.
And you really had only the input on the office manager increase. Is that somewhat correct?
No, I
Okay,
actually prepare through a program called eGrams, the actual budget figures as well as the numbers. So those numbers that are presented to the board, I prepared them. They were approved by my regional manager. They were also approved by a council in Lansing that is made up of board members, well over 20 people that meet on at least a semi-annual basis to review not only the grants and how they're being pursued in terms of how the counties are complying, but also what the new fiscal year is going to be operating. And of course, I am on a fiscal year budget rather than a calendar budget, as I believe my agency is the only agency that operates on a fiscal year.
So let me just, if I heard you correctly,
Yes,
this contract for 26 is less than 25 overall, right? I think you mentioned that.
it is, yes.
Okay. The part that I just wanted to stop, that Clerk Fetting and maybe Commissioner Luke were moving towards, I understand what you're saying, they're apples and oranges to some respect, but the situation we have on this side of the desk is that the state has has an impact on our county in terms of not your group, but the prosecutor and his staff. And it challenges the county to keep pace with what the state is willing to pay for indigent defense. And there's a gap there, as I remember, as I understand. There's the crux of the situation. And obviously, it becomes more lucrative to be assigned than to be in the prosecutor's office. And I think that's been one of the concerns that this board has had from the very beginning, and we've been watching it emerge and unfold. Again, I can understand from your perspective, that's a bit out of the realm that you operate in, but on this side, it's very, as you know, it's very difficult to recruit anywhere today.
It is.
And for you, but the more money you have, it seems to be the advantage to be able to attract the top talent. So I just wanted to sort of elaborate on that.
Well, I can't comment for what the people in Lansing are doing. I can comment on the fact that 7 years ago, there was a study that was performed by two think tanks, one out of Washington, one out of Boston, Massachusetts, and both those analysis of the system that we were under indicated that going back 30 years, indigent criminal defendants were not being properly serviced, nor were they being properly defended. And that the system that had been presented, in which the judiciary was required to oversee criminal defense work, was broken. And it was suspected by a number of our citizenship in the state of Michigan that the whole system was rigged against them and in favor of those government employees in the prosecutor's office, of which I was a prosecutor for 23 years in Lapeer County. And I can certainly comment on wage stagnation being a problem. It's been a problem since I started working in government in 1988. That was the first time I put my hand up and swore an oath to the Constitution as well as to the citizens of the state of Michigan. And on average, over that 23-year period, when I was an assistant prosecutor in various stages, everything from senior trial attorney on to defending mothers who were trying to find some type of financial support from what we call deadbeat dads, which I'm sure politically you've heard plenty of comment about them. My average salary was a 2% raise every 3 years, okay? Why I stayed in that position, I had a family and I had a mother who needed assistance from my family, and my wife made some sacrifices. But you know what? In terms of it attracting talent, I'll tell you right now, it didn't work. It still doesn't work. And hopefully the people in Lansing will figure that out and fix it. But right now, it seems like their focus is on fixing roads and handing a bunch of money to individuals that are basically tasked with public defense. So hopefully prosecutors' offices, being a lobby, will take care of that in the future. But that's the only comment I can make about that.
You got a lot of, I can only make a comment. You start to sound like an attorney, Joffrey. I just wanted to say, there's no doubt, and you've got the years of experience that it was broken and
Sure.
needed fixing. And
You
and
can
of course,
come to my office and I'll show you the 20-year,
so nobody,
20-year public service award they gave me.
there's no debate on that. It's just that it's creating an inequity on the other side now, which the
Absolutely.
county has to, and its residents have to somehow, they don't have the pot of money the state does.
That's right.
And so, and at the time, it was asked, well, why can't we tie bar this somehow between both offices? Well, that was an impossibility at that time, probably for a lot of good reasons. But from a financial standpoint, the best representation obviously is a challenge on both sides. And currently, as the clerk has indicated, and perhaps
We have a problem. with
myself,
we have a problem with our legal system and how we educate lawyers. When you finish law school with a $200,000 debt that's personal, and you have an obligation to repay that amount of money, and you can consolidate that loan, and then what you'll do over the period of consolidation is double your debt to $400,000. Guess what? People don't want to work in the public sector. They want to make money in the private sector, because someday that golden case is going to walk through the door and say, this semi truck that's owned by a commercial carrier just blew a stop sign and took out my family. Gee, that sounds very familiar. Tragedy that happened right here. Guess what? That commercial carrier, they usually carry somewhere between $3 to $4 million in liability insurance. So that's a deep pocket. That lawyer who's sitting in their office, if they actually make the referral, they're looking at a third of whatever the settlement is. So the problem we have is we have people with substantial personal debt going into the legal field, just like doctors. But those lawyers see the only way to really keep up with paying off their obligation, which they know they owe and they have a responsibility to pay, because the taxpayers have fielded that particular individual in getting the education that they wanted.
That is so true in many professions.
They think that I have to stay in private practice. I have to hang a shingle, because guess what? Year to year, my income could vary $200,000 to $300,000 a year in what I bring in. So criminal defense work, it's been cast aside.
So from perhaps not a private application, but from public application, what's your thoughts on the loan forgiveness? Have you had
Absolutely.
attorneys that took advantage of it?
It should absolutely be extended to anyone in public service, prosecutors, police officers, those people that are out there protecting our rights and freedoms. They deserve a break, whether or not we can do that. And what I would recommend is if the board can draft a letter indicating that there needs to be some type of financial support for individuals who choose to work and stay in rural counties in public service, okay, government positions, meaning you're a county attorney or you're actually an attorney who works for the prosecutor's offices, that you should extend not only to them assistance financially, but also forgiveness of loans. I think that's a great idea, and the board should get behind it. And the people in Lansing, your representatives, your senator, your governor, they need to hear that. And they need to hear that from not only Tuscola County, but Tuscola, Sanilac, Huron, Bay County, all the counties that, for the most part, have a real problem with hiring and bringing in legal talent. Because right now, guess where everyone wants to live? Metro Detroit, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, and Lansing. That's, for the most part, where the new lawyers are gravitating. So, yeah, we do have a vacuum here.
And you would, I mean, unlike mine, is my opinion, Lansing has deaf ears at the moment, so no matter what was said, they're not going to really do
Good point.
anything.
That's a good point. But don't stop trying. That's all I'm just saying, yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. I didn't think it was extended, the medical profession, yes, to some degree, but it certainly is an incentive to go into public defender or prosecutors or whatever. Well, those were my questions. Any other questions for the board?
I have one. Jeff, how do we compare to the other counties around us as far as dollar wise? As far as how much they get and what we get, do you know what the difference is?
I don't try to keep track.
Okay.
I know that we have a very unique situation in Tuscola County. We have a very active and aggressive prosecutor's office, and we also have trial courts that do something that's amazing, and they move the cases quickly. And both your district and your circuit judges, as well as the probate judge, because guess what's on the horizon? My office is going to be responsible for juvenile criminal defense, which means there'll be a huge training amount in properly representing juveniles and their families, because the probate court jurisdiction extends far beyond what our criminal district and circuit courts have. But in comparison, Tuscola County has always been a very unique county because we move cases quickly, and that whole concept of having a right to a speedy trial. We got a circuit judge and a district judge that are committed to doing that, and I think that's a benefit. So unlike other counties, our cases move quickly. Unfortunately, that requires a lot more investment in the criminal defense roster. We have 13 attorneys right now. I'm adding 2 more probably within the next 2 months. We'll get up to 15, perhaps as many as 16. There are 2 lawyers that both of them are in the area and interested, but they haven't pulled the trigger and filled out the paperwork.
Thank you, Chairman.
Any other questions for Jeffrey?
Thinking.
Very good, thank you.
Posing a moment for thinking. Prior to the board, we have a question from the board.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a question. You talked about a particular position in here and a particular rate increase that was built into the grant. Did I understand that correctly?
As an assistant defender, yeah, that's a position.
How does that affect our other people here?
I have no idea.
Does
I
anybody here know?
I can't comment on that other than to indicate that that's,
Well, because when you put it in a grant, I mean, that's something that you're held to. Condition. So if that's designated, I just want to know how that impacts the rest of the people that we have in our office. If that particular person gets that elevated amount,
that's the thing. It's
that's for us to deal with. Right?
It's the highest step level that's been appropriated. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be approved or paid
Okay, so
that's
that's just a
what
recommendation.
from
You're
the
not
state.
held, we're not held to that, is that what you're saying? Or we are held to that? Okay.
I don't think you're held to it other than to sign the contract. And if the monies aren't spent, they're returned to Lansing. That's all I have for it.
All right,
Thank you.
we have pleasure of the board recognizing Ashley Bennett for a question. I didn't know if you needed Joffrey or not, but, okay.
So, Ashley Bennett, County Treasurer, Indian Fields Township. Commissioner Lutz had asked a great question of how do we compare to other counties. That information is available on the MEIDC, Michigan IDC.gov. It gives the fiscal year of 2019 through 25 with the 26 grants that have already been approved for each county that have already approved those. I actually did look at that information because we're being tasked with budget. You guys are being tasked with this budget. And while I understand MIDC is a grant-funded operation, there is still a transfer in coming out of the general fund. And that is the local share that you see on that grant that was given to you. That local share, I did some research on how does that local share come about, and they look at the 3 previous years' total costs to establish what is the county's portion of that fiscal year responsibility. When you asked about 2025, Tuscola County gave $255,000, $255,944.70 to the MIDC fund. Huron County gave $81,818.78. Sanilac County gave $66,196.06. So while you can say it's a grant-funded operation, it still affects your general fund. Not only does it affect our transfer in that we're giving to MIDC, but you also have the prosecutor that came in here mid-year and we adjusted their wages to be more proportionate to MIDC. So I wanted to bring this to your attention so that you can make an educated decision based on this grant funding. While I understand it's dollars available from the state, it still affects Tuscola County. That's all.
Thank you, Ashley.
I respond to that.
Go right ahead.
The grant county contribution, it hasn't changed since I started here. That's 4 years. This is the 4th year that I would have been here. So I think it's disingenuous to indicate that somehow the grant agency local share is going to increase and it has been increased. That's not true, okay? It has stayed the same since I inherited this position. And I just want to clarify that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Well, thank you for that. Geoffrey, just out of curiosity, if Tuscola is 255,000, the other 2 counties surrounding us, 8166.
Right.
What, from your perspective, what's that based on? Is that due to the number of cases? Why would they be so low and we're so high? What's your thoughts?
It could be a reflection of the number of cases. It could be the reflection of the number of attorneys that are utilized in terms of criminal defense. I'm not at liberty to comment about how they operate in those other counties. If the board wants me to go and look into that and report back, I'll be happy to take my time and devote it to that. But
I just was looking at for a factual, but sort of what were your thoughts, just because it was such a discrepancy, and the first thing I thought of, they have less crime or something's different that's majorly causing the Tuscola contribution to be so high. But anyone else wonder that for the moment? I don't know.
If you just look at MIDC, like online, it tells you how the local share calculation is calculated. The local share or share means an indigent criminal defense system's average annual expenditure for indigent criminal defense services in the 3 fiscal years immediately preceding the creation of the MIDC, excluding money reimbursed to the system by individuals determined to be partially indigent. And it gives you how the all of the information is available on Michigan's website.
that's great. Thank you.
So
I
it's
appreciate
based
that.
on the expenditures
And
of what
expenditures,
the
makes
county is
sense.
expending.
Makes sense. I
Very
mean,
good.
in general sense, makes sense. Any other questions for Geoffrey? Well, thank you for that update and
problem.
appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, my next time with the board, I'd appreciate more notice rather than 24 hours. So I'm operating in a way at a disadvantage, but I'll be happy to bring my regional manager in, Mr. Lozen, and he'll be more than happy to educate the board about all the aspects of how the Tuscola grant works and how it compares to the other 11 counties that he's responsible for monitoring.
So that'd be excellent. Was this,
We'll do that.
with this agreement, did it have a timeline? Like, is the timeline ending or is it,
Our fiscal year started October 1st.
all right, so we're a bit behind on agreeing? Okay, that's probably why the urgency.
But we can thank people in Lansing for that.
I see. Well, check one on Lansing again.
Thank you. It's a
All right.
pleasure to meet you all. Thank you, Mr. Arias.
Commissioner Bardwell, may I ask a question?
Yes,
What is the deadline for the commissioners to approve this, or is the commissioner approval required? I understand the state approved it, but I believe the commissioners also have to approve it.
Correct.
And what is the deadline for that?
I don't have a deal.
So do they
I've been
need,
tasked with the idea of, if this can be signed when the contract comes out in the next 2 weeks by the chairman of the board, who isn't present at this point, and I'm not sure we will be returning to the state.
well, if the board approves it today, I believe he would then have the authority to sign it when he returns next week. However, if we would like to discuss it further, if we waited until the next board meeting, which would be November 13th, would that be within your timeline? If the commissioners would like more information?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask.
Mr.
So
Chair,
if we needed to
I'd
approve it
like to
today,
extend that,
we
have you
would
come
do
back
so.
instead of voting on it today, so we have more information, because there's a big discrepancy here.
so
Good, I'll bring Mr. Lozen and make sure he's here on the 13th. Is that the date?
Yes.
Okay.
Kim Bob would like to be recognized.
Kim, recognized.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
I just wanted to comment on that. When this MIDC all started, our rates were offset by what we were spending on cases for the courts, and we were spending like $255,000 a year. So that set our starting rate at that. Now, I don't know what the other counties were spending per year, but that's where our rate came in at, and it hasn't changed as far as I know since we started MIDC. But they took what we were spending before the program came into effect, and that was our contribution to it, where it didn't lower it, didn't raise it, it just stayed the same, and the rest was done with the contract. So if that helps anybody with the understanding of how we got started at $255,000 a year, that's
any questions for Kim? Well, thank you, Kim. That definitely summed it up as you were there at that time, and you're absolutely right, as I recall. So the pleasure of the board was to postpone this until the next board meeting, Board of Commissioner meeting, which was, what did they state?
The 13th.
13th? Is that agreement, everybody? Okay. So it's going to be moved to the 13th. That'll give you sufficient notice.
I don't believe we will be able to change that figure, but you can go ahead and postpone it.
That change anybody's thinking at the moment?
Not much.
Okay, just check it.
Chairman,
Yes.
what more information do you want?
Well, he's gonna bring his boss in here and he's gonna explain it a little bit better. I mean, for what Jeff can't explain, why are we at 255,000 and the rest of them are not? That's kind of what I want to know.
Chairman Vaughn just said why.
I realize,
That's fine.
I realize that.
I'm just
but-
wondering what information we need. And if he can provide it for us or his boss, but that's fine.
All right,
happy
thank you
to.
very much.
I'm
Thanks,
happy
Jeff.
to
That
look
works
up
for you,
those numbers
Jeffrey?
as well.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll see you the 13th.
Thank
What was your comment, Erica?
I'm happy to run some numbers as well
Okay,
to do the look back.
all right. Well, thank you, everyone, for all the questions. And again, it'll be moved to the 13th when the board meets again. So moving on to the next item in new business, it's the Tuscola County Medical Care Community Funds transfer request, which Erica Dibble, our control administrator, will present.
Good morning. We received a request from Cody Rabideau for the transfer. And is there one or two? There's just one. Apologize, I am finding it in my agenda. The total is,
125,951.44.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yes. And they do have the funds in there.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the funds transfer request by Cody Rabideau, Chief Executive Officer of the Capital Project at the Tuscola County Medical Care Facility Community in the amount of $25,000 from the flooring project, $43,278.67 to replacing aging residential lifts, and $56,572.77 for a down payment for a phone system upgrade project totaling $125,951.44.
I'll support.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz and supported by Commissioner Barrios to approve the amount of $25,000 for flooring project, amounting $43,278.67 for replacing aging resident lifts, and $56,572.77 for a down payment for a phone system upgrade project, all totaling $125,951.44. That was the motion that was presented. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The request is approved. And the next item, number 3, is a voted local bridge transfer request from the Road Commission. Again, Erica Dibble, County Administrator, Controller Administrator, will present.
This is, again, a very similar request. This is from Mike Tuckey of the Road Commission, requesting to approve $323,880 from the voted bridge.
Chair, I move to approve the transfer of $323,888 voucher Bridge 2025-2 from the 296 voted local bridge millage to the 201 Road Commission Fund as per the request by Mike Tuckey, Finance Director of the Tuscola County Road Commission.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Barrios to approve the transfer of $323,880 voucher number Bridge 2025-2 from the 296 voted local bridge millage to the 201 Road Commission Fund as per the request by Mike Tuckey, Finance Director of the Tuscola County Road Commission. That's the motion that was presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. That transfer is requested is approved as well. And much similar, we'll go to number 4. Again, Erica Dibble, Controller Administrator, will present the primary road transfer request.
Thank you. Again, similar request. However, this is from the 214 voted primary road fund in the amount of $1,886,970.82. And again, they do have the funds available.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the transfer of $1,886,970.82 voucher number, the road 2025-1 from the 214 voted primary road fund to the 201 Road Commission Fund as per requested by Mike Tuckey, Finance Director of the Tuscola County Road Commission.
I'll support.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz and supported by Commissioner Cook to approve the transfer of $1,886,970.82 voucher number road 2025-1 from the 214 voted primary road fund to the 201 Road Commission Fund as per the request by Mike Tuckey, Finance Director of the Tuscola County Road Commission. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that request has been approved as well.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to number 5, expungement fair, certified copy free waiver request, and Clerk Fetting will present that request.
Good morning, Commissioners. On Saturday, the courthouse will be available from noon to 4, and we are hosting an expungement fair to allow the opportunity for our residents to come in and speak with attorneys. It's Fair and Safe Michigan, and I might have that name wrong. That's on your flyer in there, as well as the Attorney General's office, in order to help them navigate the steps to expunge certain charges from their record. Only certain charges qualify, but it does give them the opportunity to clear the record, and which will then open up doors potentially for better employment, better housing, and then to kind of maybe erase a past that they've now become a different person from. What I'm asking is my office will be able to provide certified copies of judgments that day, as that's a requirement in the expungement process, is for the person seeking that to have a certified copy of their judgment. And I'm asking to waive that certified copy fee for any of those that would be there trying to garner that request. Currently, we have over 90 people pre-registered for this. So I'm very excited about that. The courts have already set aside some specific dates. Some will be district court only, some will be circuit court. So not all of those will come out of mine, but you do set the rates for those certified copies. I just think this is an opportunity for us to give back to our residents in a small way, to help them improve their future.
Chairman?
Please.
Is it anybody, I mean, if somebody from Genesee County, Lapeer County, could they also be here?
It is open to anybody. We would only be able to garner certified copy of charges that happened in Tuscola County. If the charges happened in another county, they would have to go to that county and they would be subject to their fees. So it would be only for that, but this is an event open to others as well. So I don't know if everybody pre-registered is just from Tuscola County, or if there will be some of our outlying residents that are close to our border that might attend as well.
Right.
But the advice will be provided to all who come. So I don't even know that we would be able to provide copies to all of them. But, it's a certified copy is $10 to $11 depending on the size of their judgment. And so I don't think that we would be losing a ton, but I do think it's a nice gesture that we can kind of help them get off on the right path.
So you mentioned people, you have 90 people pre-registered.
Yes.
Are people who aren't pre-registered, are they eligible to come in?
They would be eligible to come in, and then it would depend on if the schedule would allow.
So it's recommended.
It is recommended to pre-register. If they come in and there's somebody available, obviously they're going to assist them. But if they're not pre-registered, they might just have a wait until somebody is available to discuss their situation with them.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the waiver of certified copy fee for the certified criminal judgment provided to a defendant in order to complete the application to set aside conviction paperwork during the expungement fair, which will be held at the Tuscola County Courthouse on November 1st, 2025. Additionally, this waiver will apply to all future expungement fairs hosted by the Tuscola County Courthouse.
Moved by Commissioner Lewis and supported by Commissioner Barrios to waive the certified copy fee for the certified criminal judgments provided to a defendant in order to complete the application to set aside conviction paperwork during the expungement fair, which will be held at the Tuscola County Courthouse on November 1st, 2025. Additionally, this waiver will apply to all future expungement fairs hosted at the Tuscola County Courthouse. That is the motion. Any further discussion? Just a question I had. Is this just once a year, or what is? How's
This is a new venture. We've never held something like this in Tuscola County. I would suspect that since we are seeing success in that in coordination with these two groups, that this could be more of an annual event to kind of help those folks out. But there's nothing set at this point. But I thought by including it in the future, it just would cover us so that we could prepare for that. To be able to, as people are calling and asking questions, we would be able to provide that information ahead of time.
They've had them in other counties, you're saying?
Yes, they
Oh,
have.
yeah. Yeah, I know Genesee County has.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yes. It's the first time into our area, so we're excited to be able to help our community out.
Sure. Yep.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Hearing none. The fee waiver has been approved.
Thank you very much, commissioners.
Thank you. On to item 6, the Circuit Court Family Court Legal Services Contract. Erica Dibble, Control Administrator, will be presenting.
We received a request from the court administrator for the updated contract. There is no monetary change. There is no process change, only an annual renewal of the contract. So for the Circuit Court Legal Services, the contract total is $257,500, but that is divided over monthly payments to many different attorneys.
Okay, any questions?
This is the same as it's been, right?
Exactly the same. Well, the dates have changed.
Right, yeah.
Yes. The monetary amount has not changed. The frequency of payments has not changed. I did not look to see if the number of attorneys has changed, but the names are very similar.
Okay.
There perhaps is one or two more that have changed. I did not go that deep. I looked at the dollars. I looked at how often are they receiving payment? How are they receiving payment? They're all receiving payment through accounts payable, so no impact to payroll, no impact to FICA or any type of benefits. That's what I reviewed deeply.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 2026 Circuit Court Family Court Legal Service Contract requested by Judge Amy Gerhardt in the total of $257,500 for the 12-month contract period effective January 1, 2026. Contract payment shall be paid in 12 installments for each attorney, with the first vendor payment cycle following February 1, 2026.
So moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Barrios, to approve the 2026 Circuit Court Family Court Legal Services Contract request from Judge Amy Grace Gerhardt in the total amount of $257,500 for the 12-month contract period, effective January 1st, 2026. Contract payments shall be paid in 12 installments for each attorney, with the first vendor payment cycle following February 1st, 2026. I think I got that as the entirety. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the legal services contract is approved for the judge. And moving on to number 7, the contract for representation for alleged developmentally disabled individuals in probate court. And Erica Dibble, Controller Administrator, will be presenting.
Again, very similar to the previous contract. There was no financial changes. There was no procedural changes. The monthly payments are the same. It's still a vendor check being cut out of AP, and it is indeed the same attorney as last year. So the only update would be the contract period.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 2026 contract for representation for alleged developmentally disabled individuals in Tuscola County Probate Court, per the request from Judge Amy Grace Gerhardt in the total amount of $6,500 to be paid through accounts payable beginning on February 1st, 2026, with monthly installments for the 12-month contract period effective January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2026.
I support.
Moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Barrios. To approve the 2026 contract for representation for alleged developmentally disabled individuals in Tuscola County Probate Court, per the request from Judge Amy Grace Gearhart in the total amount of $6,500 to be paid through accounts payable beginning on February 1st, 2026, with monthly installments for the 12-month contract period, effective January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. That is the motion as read. Is there any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the contract is approved. And on to number 8, the 2026 fiscal year proposed budget first draft review and calendar update. Erica Dibble, Controller, Administrator, will be presented.
In the packet digitally, so there is a online access for any department or the public, is the draft budget that I presented to you in paper on Monday. The only update is to the calendar per the discussion we had on Monday. We have changed the public hearing. We have, in doing so, also generated some other date changes for the final review. The final review would be later since we moved the public hearing. In addition, it also changed the deadline for posting. So there's a 30-day posting. I would have to get the notice to the paper, so it could be published no less than 30 days prior. So that also changed that deadline date. So those are highlighted in a peach color for you in the online packet. Other than that, everything remains the same. I also have plans. I'm working with our treasurer to schedule some appointments with departments. We're hoping to have more of a roundtable type meetings with departments to work together to see where can we save so we could get closer to a balanced budget before we bring it back to you commissioners. That date is not on the budget calendar because that's an internal process that we're just trying to work through with scheduling. When can I meet with departments? So the only action I believe that is needed today would be to accept the calendar changes.
Any further questions?
Chair, I move to approve the 2026 budget development calendar as presented.
I'll support that.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz and supported by Commissioner Cook to approve the 2026 budget development calendar as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, budget calendar as changes have been approved.
Thank you.
Chairman, just one quick.
Yes.
Erica, when you do another copy of this, can you just take out the November 13th that is crossed off and actually falls after November 21st, just to clean it up a little bit?
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Anything else before we move to old business? All right, we'll move to old business. And the first item is the 2025 county apportionment, which was presented last Monday at the committee of the whole meeting. Any further questions or discussion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve and place on file the 2025 Tuscola County report as presented by Angie Daniels, Equalization Director.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Lutz to approve and place on file the 2025 Tuscola County apportionment report as presented by Angie Daniels, Equalization Director. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm
Opposed?
sorry. Can we do that by roll call vote?
Oh,
Well, that's why I'm confused. There's two motions.
oh, I see.
Well, I seen that too.
There's two.
Oh, there, you're just doing the first one. The first one can be
Right.
voice vote, the second one can be roll call.
Roll
Thank
call.
you.
No, I was questioning myself too.
Yes. Thank
Well, I
you.
seen that first one, then I seen the
Like,
second
oh,
one.
we're on that one.
I'm not
Thank
reading
you.
the second
I
one
missed
because I
that.
can't pronounce that one word.
I was going with the motions.
Cannot do it.
Carry on, sorry.
All right, we do have an outstanding motion, as I recall. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none or seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. It's so the county apportionment has been approved, be placed on file. And then,
You have a motion.
yes,
I'll make that motion. I move to approve the 2025-13 Tuscola County Apportionment Report Resolution presented by Angie Daniels, Equalization Director, with a roll call vote.
I'll support that.
moved by Commissioner Barrios and supported by Commissioner Lutz to approve the 2025-13 Tuscola County Apportionment Report Resolution presented by Angie Daniels, Equalization Director. And requested a roll call vote, please, Clerk Fetting.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrios,
Yes.
Commissioner Barba,
Yes?
Commissioner Lutz,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
and Commissioner Vaughn is absent. That carries. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for that.
Thank you for pronouncing that name right. Commissioner Burrows.
On to number 2 on old business, this proposed 2025-14 performance resolution for municipal. Yeah, I'm with you, Commissioner.
Sorry, I jinxed you.
Forget it.
Forget it.
For the flock cam, I don't know why you get into this, but for flock cameras. All right.
Sheriff will straighten it out for you.
So Flock actually requires a resolution in order to continue the process to get these things installed. That's just how they operate. So this is just a boilerplate resolution that they sent to us, that they send to all the places.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the resolution 2025-14 performance resolution for the multiples for the flock cameras roll call vote. I can't say it either, so. You got the idea.
I got that.
You got the idea.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz, who supported it.
I'll support it.
Supported by Commissioner Cook to approve resolution 2025-14 performance resolution for municipalities for the flock cameras. And request a roll call vote, Clerk Fetting.
Thank you. Commissioner Lutz,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrios,
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn is absent. Commissioner Barba.
Yes,
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
thank you.
And Commissioner Barbara, I do have both of those prepared with your name for signature, so we can sign after the meeting if you don't mind.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That completes the old business. Going to move on to correspondence resolutions. There's 4 of them. Is there any discussion or presentations on any of those? None, just information only?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we reviewed and correspondence resolutions. And if everyone's ready, we'll move into the Commissioner Liaison Committee reports. We'll start with Commissioner Barrios first. Barrios?
I'm getting a cold, so bear with me. As far as the, I typed out all my notes. I can finally take it out. Take out the notes. And the County Road Commission, I mentioned that on Monday. They're finishing up the current year. They talked primarily at their meeting about the 2 fatality accidents that happened, and have been diligently working at that time to try and gather information regarding the causes of the accidents, which kind of determine what action they're going to necessarily take. They talked about alternatives with the lighted stop signs, rumble strips, and of course that all goes back to what the causes of the accidents actually, were. when I went out there, because I drive that road quite frequently myself, I noticed that the intersection of Hertz Corner and Deckerville had what appeared to me to be new signs, yellow on both sides of stop signs. So it looked like it had been improved even to this point. Great Start Collaborative is a very large group of people. There are still spots available for Great Start, our peak program in Kingston and Akron. All spots are covered with funding. Sean Smith from HDC was there representing HDC and indicated some information about this City of Caro's park cleanup and Santa arriving on December the 19th. Many of the organizations that were affected in the Great Start Collaborative have budgets that are sustaining them during the government shutdown. The biggest issue was food accessibility. You're going to hear that from a lot of different organizations. They were talking, comparing notes about who has a food pantry, who has a food bank, and found that some local churches who were offering food pantries are discontinuing that service because they have such a great need from their own parishioners or people in their congregation. So they're limiting those access to their own groups. There's a fundraiser scheduled for November 20th at the Arrow Moose Lodge to try and help raise money. $19,000 is still needed to cover the rent, December rent. And they're looking for sponsors. If you see any flyers or any information on Facebook, please help out. They're even looking for donations for gifts to be given out as drawings or door prizes. We talked about Imagination Library. 1,600 kids are getting books each month. I thought that was very interesting. I went to the MAC program in Lansing my first time, so it was the option of you get to go either through the video Zoom conference or go in person. And my first time I went in person, won't do that again. The traffic was very terrible, the roads were all torn up. And when I got there, besides the chairman, Jimmy Johnson, I was the only person in person that was at that presentation. They talked primarily, their guest speakers that day were from MSU FIT organization. Andy Northrop, I met Andy before because the Village of Cass City had gone through the FIT assessment in previous years. And I'm also going to mention that because I also went to the Regional Prosperity meeting that was held in Kingston, and they had a presentation from the City of Ross Common, who had gone through the FIT program, and amazing work. Everything is coordinated, everything is linked. They provide a comprehensive presentation, people coming into the county, people coming into the community. It's just amazing what work they have done. And I can share with you from my experience in Cass City, when they came in and they did their overall presentation, what they do is you contract with them, they come out and send people who've never been to your community. And those people are tasked with staying in that community overnight and visiting and seeing what all, it's kind of like your shopper, your, what they call secret shoppers. So they come in and they look at your community and they give you a report, what was good, what do you need to look at differently. When they came to Cass City, the first thing that they said was, we're going to research Cass City before we come out there. And the first thing that comes up when you enter Cass City is Cass River. So the first question they asked, where's your access to the Cass River? And then they talked about going into shops and like a secret shopper, how they were greeted, how the packaging is, how their branding is. It's very, very helpful for the communities. And they have, it's an excellent program. Anyway, they talked about that was their primary coverage. They also do that for counties. It's a different program. It's called RTA, and that program is something that you can purchase. They indicated, somebody asked them, they said $23,000 for a 3-day, 3 community 4-day evaluation. And they were going to publish some information on that was available. Let's see, what else have I got? Parks and Recreation. We're currently short on the Parks and Recreation. When I moved into the position that Mr. Vaughn had held previously, that removed me from the active appointment share. So we're down 4. We're still diligently paddling forward. We've had a number of questions that came up, some recommendations on equipment for the park. And at our particular meeting, we had to elevate Dara Hood in order to be able to hold that meeting. And when Dara had to leave for another meeting, we had to stop our discussions, so we couldn't continue. So we're going to have another meeting in November, so we can kind of finalize the projects that we've talked about. And for those of you who don't know, 2 grants were written for Parks and Rec. One is for a historical sign at Vanderbilt Park. It gives history of the Native American use of that park and going through onto present day. That grant was written by Mark Putnam, and we're finalizing everything. It's in the process of being constructed, and we hope to get that by the end of the year. We also got a grant for assistance for the feasibility study at the parcels location. And we have some other discussions, and I won't bring those until we have opportunity to get together with the group. Saginaw Bay Coastal Initiative, I have not yet had the opportunity to be at that meeting yet because it happened before I was appointed, so I'll be attending that one. As far as local units of government, I've attended Elmwood Township meeting, which I reported on previously, Village of Unionville meeting. And at that particular meeting, they were having a vote to change from commercial to multifamily, particular location in downtown Unionville for a potential apartment complex. And that was going to be used with primarily Family Promise individuals. I attended Columbia Township. Question came up about the drain assessments. Will people get letters before they get their tax bills? Their township had a PA 116 resplit. The original PA 116 included the family house, and it had to be split off. So that's something that they handled during that particular meeting. I attended Akron Township. In both Akron Township and Columbia Township, both spoke about their joint fire commission and the fact that they were looking for training on grain bin rescue, and they were looking for grants for grain bin rescue equipment as well. So I'm looking into that to get them some information. I understand MSU has some training available. Tuscola County Road Commission, I've kind of already talked about that. I attended the HHS meeting at Tuscola County Medical Care Facility, and I'm not going to go into great detail. One of the things that I noticed, and you probably are aware of it, there was a bill for membership, and last year the amount was $2,034. Previous year, last year we only budgeted $1,600, but that bill was consistently $2,034. So they approved that, so it's not what the budget is calling for, so you'll probably hear from them. But I have to tell you, I was just amazed. Tuscola County Medical Care Facility, and I haven't heard this, and it needs to be promoted. They are ranked number 2 in the state out of 420 medical care facilities, and they've held that ranking for 5 or 6 years. They don't have any difficulty with staffing because of their ranking. I have to commend Cody Rabideau and Maggie. They are a Batman and Robin duo. I mean, they are just kaboom, 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 kaboom. Well, I'll tell you what, if I was interviewing somebody for a high-level position and they came in, it would be hands down, they are the people. Just perfection. And I told them that when I was at that particular meeting. Staffing there is currently at 294 employees. Cody said it's the best that it's been in recent years, and this can be attributed to the consistency of the high-quality ranking at the facility. They're currently replacing a roof heating and cooling system over the kitchen area, and that's going to be done in December to allow minimum interruption to the facility. They had a gentleman present to us. Let me see if I can find what his name was. I wrote it down here somewhere. No, I didn't. They had one of their people that handles all of their activities, and he was just outstanding. He came, very colorful shirt, and that's the first thing I noticed from him. He had his shirt on, he had a Halloween hat on, and he talked about how they interact with the patients and clients and how they use all kinds of things to interact and engage, whether it's seeing, listening, touching, games, and whatever. It was very, very excellent. And I want to mention to you too, last thing, and then I'll shut up. I attended this meeting for Michigan Trails and Greenways Association. That's the group that gave us the grant for the feasibility study at the parcels. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for them to do their presentation. And I guess I lost my page already. Oh, here it is. So I'm sitting there waiting for them to start the presentation, and she goes on and she said, oh, wait a minute. Lonnie's coming. Lonnie Kester is on his way. And I'm thinking, is there another Lonnie Kester in the world here? Maybe from Detroit, Michigan. And walks in, our Lonnie Kester walks in. And I will tell you, I was so proud. That gentleman has been a member of this organization, Michigan Trails and Greenways, for years. And so I bring this magazine home, and highlighted under Iron Bell Trail System is Lonnie Kester, recognizing him for all the work he's done to get grants for Iron Bell Trails. Great fella, and I'll tell you what, he served on our planning commission. I served with him, and he still serves as chairman of that commission. Great guy. So I wanted to just give him a shout out, because I thought that was really, I'm down in Rochester and this, hoity-toity place, and here comes our guy, and he's recognized for this great work. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Millington did that fit too, and it's a really a good thing. I went to that. And
It is excellent.
Yeah.
It is excellent.
Thank you, Commissioner Byers. Excellent report. I'm up next. Behavioral health is still, I'll just brief, it's a PIHP impact on local consumers. And what's going on, the latest court decision at the moment is allowing them to go ahead and RFQ for services, so more to come on that. And we did talk about that, a little bit about that on Max 7th yesterday. EDC, a couple things on EDC. Alicia Proctor was elected yesterday to be the executive director. So she'll be leading that. And then as far as the other discussions, there's several, but those who are leaving the board, Rose Putman, Bob Wallach, who's retiring, John Tilt, are three. So there's going to be three. Clerk Fetting that'll be coming to the board. I don't remember the protocol, but I don't know if you remember if we advertise for that, if they bring the people.
Yes, so our boards and commissions have been advertised, as well as letters submitted to members that are up for reappointment, as well as if they are no longer serving, then we ask them to fill out a form to let us know that. That is getting finalized right now, and those will be presented to you at your first committee of the whole meeting in November to seek reappointment for those individuals that have applied. As Commissioner Barrios has said, we do have a few vacancies on various commissions. So.
All right, I'm just trying to remember that. And also Alicia Proctor's promotion to executive director, does that have to come before the board, or is that an internal to the EDC? I
I
can't
don't know.
remember Steve's, but, uh,
I would have to look at how the bylaws are written on that. I'm not
Okay.
for sure.
all right, we'll just put a check mark on that. The new officers are Jim Tussey's the chair, the vice chair is going to be Brian Newcomb, the treasurer is Joe Green. He's continuing, and the secretary, retiring, of course, is Deb Powell. So beyond that, that's pretty much the update on the EDC. Max 7th met yesterday. Interesting conversation. It worked around the topics. Commissioner Barrios was involved as well. I think the value of it was spoken by Nathan, in the sense that we did lose St. Clair and Lapeer somewhat in the group. They're larger, different issues. I can reflect on that. And Nathan felt it was very important for the three counties, the thumb, to continue to meet and discuss the commonality of the challenges they face. And certainly from that list that pretty much hit a few, the least challenging for the group was probably the mental health. Not a lot of discussion on that other than, they're very much aware. So that was the Max 7th. Mac Workers Comp Board, I have a meeting next Wednesday related to that. Finance is going to be the first Friday of the month, and then NACO Action Caucus is usually the second Wednesday of the month. So that's going to report there. And Commissioner Lutz, the question related to why wouldn't they hopefully waive that $300? We are hoping with Cody's help to waive a survey. And he's been very instrumental in zeroing in, looks like a survey to me, but exactly what is needed. So hopefully, maybe that's going to be a bargaining issue if they require that. That'd be outrageous. $300 would be pretty expensive compared to a survey estimate.
Yeah.
And that's my report. Commissioner Vaughn is not here, but here. Commissioner Woods?
Mr. Chair, can I comment on something?
Yes, go ahead, Kim.
Jump back to EDC for a minute. I believe their bylaws are if they hire a director, it does not have to come in front of the board. If they name tag it executive director, that has to be board approved.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yeah, so the executive director has to be approved then?
If they tag somebody as an executive director, that has to be approved by the board. If they hire somebody just as a director without saying an executive director, then that was one of the discussions we had at the EDC meeting when they hired this gal that they had as director basically for 30 hours and then moving her to an executive director. They did that for under the director's tax, so they did have to bring that to the board. But if they hire an executive director, I believe that has to be approved by the board.
Okay, well, thanks for reiterating that. I mean, I think it was mentioned that it wouldn't have to be. That's what raised my interest, but I'm not as familiar as you are with the bylaws. So, all right, so that'll be coming to the board at some point, I suspect.
I would think if it's the executive director, it should come to the board, but unless I'm missing something, but that's just what I remember.
Okay.
And Commissioner Vaughn, I will pull those bylaws too and confirm that and then follow up with the board as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Now, once again, Commissioner Lutz, anything to report?
Yes, I do. Mainly down to local units of government. I want to let the board know that Stemco Kaiser in Millington is putting a huge addition on. If you don't know what they do, they make truck kingpins for trucks, and they're putting a huge addition on. They have several plants across the United States, and they picked Millington to expand. So we're very happy about that. A couple weeks ago, we had the ribbon cutting for Limited RC. They bought the old grocery store in Millington. And if you don't know what they do, they have remote control cars. And they're the second largest in the United States for this. You can go in there and buy cars, or you can rent them. They have 4 tracks in there. It's amazing going to what they've done to that store inside. It's really good to watch these guys that really know what they're doing with remote control cars. They race. They have hundreds of people come there on the weekends for the races. So that's all going to be good for the town. We're glad that they're there. And I have something that I've been working on for a long time since I become a commissioner. And it looks like Millington, Michigan is going to get an urgent care that we've been wanting to get for quite some time. There's been a lot of work involved, and it should get started in 2026, I was told yesterday. So that's something that's needed in the south half of the county, and we're so glad that they're coming. So that's my report, sir.
Commissioner, is that Aspire or McLaren?
Aspire.
Aspire. I don't know who is out there. I know they're in Mayville, I think. Maybe not. Thank you. And then Commissioner Cook.
Nothing to add, sir.
All right, well, thank you for your report. Other business as necessary. Anything from the board? I'll lead in with just one that I left off with the EDC. There was discussion, we left off with Carly a while back in terms of the insurance. Maybe it was with Jim, with how the insurance would work. And we've never approved or went back to revisit that. So is there any updates that either anyone has on that? Erica, anyone?
Yeah, so I received message back from Carly specific to the MSU portion that said that MSU does not cover property that they do not own. So, however, our provider, MMRMA, recommends having some sort of a clause in our agreement, but it has not been in the agreement. So he said, obviously, it's been that way for a while, so it's up to our discretion, your discretion.
Our discretion?
To leave it. And then as far as the EDC, again, our insurance provider is stating that we should have it in our clause. EDC is actually another client of MMRMA. So, but the EDC director doesn't believe it needs to be in the agreement. So that's where we stand. So if you would provide me with direction, if you would like me to add it to the draft agreement or leave it out and then bring the agreement back to the board.
Thoughts?
I think it needs to be in the agreement. That's my personal opinion.
So typically there's some sort of subrogation, right? So if somebody were to fall down, they're going to sue every person or every entity. They're going to sue Tuscola County as a property owner. They're going to sue EDC, even if they were not there to see EDC. If EDC's name is on the door, they're going to be included. And then it's up to the insurance companies and the attorneys to sort it out whose plan is paying the bill. So it's to the direction, I'll take the direction from the board to add it in, create 2 draft proposals, one with, one without. Tell me what you'd like. He did give me some sample language. Of course, it's from the insurance company, so it is wordy. It's very wordy. But I take direction from the board, so whatever you would like me to do is how I will proceed.
It's sort of like a 360. They're going to sue everyone on the door, but yet we have to have a clause. It makes a circle, and I don't really know the answer to this and who's on top or what's required, but they can't, as I recall from the meeting, they can't proceed, MSU can't proceed to remodel until this agreement is in place. Is that correct?
I think that was just what you guys wanted to figure out before you.
Remodel, it's one of our criteria.
Before you approved.
Okay.
moving forward.
And does that remodeling need to be done in 25? Or does it matter in terms of a cost aspect?
There was also some questions about the funding for the remodeling. I believe the EDC had donations or somebody who was going to help fund it from their side. And then the question was on the MSU side, is Tuscola County paying that, or is that a fair use of MSU allocated funds, which I don't believe it is a proper use of millage funds. Because, however, that's up to the board to decide. The millage would allow us to, if they needed an additional office for MSU to do the work, but to help another entity that is unrelated to the millage, I believe that would not be an accurate use of funds. But again, that is my opinion. Ultimately, it's the board's discretion.
Well, it might be how the millage language is written
Yeah.
as well. I don't, I'm not for sure what the discretion is based on how that language is written.
Yeah, I'll try to comment. So, from my understanding, the millage language is for operations. So the thought was, this was back when we had 2 additional people in the office before the SNAP Ed funding cuts. It's very loud in there as the walls don't go all the way to the ceiling. And if there is a door, it's kind of pointless if you don't have full walls. And so the thought was to create actual walls and offices with doors and walls that go to the ceiling. We've been wanting to do that. We've been talking with Mike Miller about that for the last 2 years since I've been in this position. Then when EDC, proposed moving into our office, it was just, they agreed with it and said, yeah, since we'll be occupying an office space, we'll throw in some money as well. So it's not, they would kind of be paying for their office and then we would be paying for the rest of the space using the millage funds. I will say in other counties that extension services that have millages, they have used their millage funds for similar things. They actually bought a building with their millage funds in another county. So we'd have to, I guess, double check the language again, but from when we checked it a couple of years ago, it would be allowable. I just want to comment on the insurance as well. So when I checked into this with my superiors, I was told that MSU is self-insured, so we don't have liability insurance on buildings that we don't own and anywhere across the state. And it's always in my experience with kind of facilitating contracts between partners and MSU, any hold harmless clause or indemnification clause or anything in a contract, MSU will not sign. Because it's basically, and what I was told is our MOA that we sign every year and renew every year with the county basically states that we will, take care of and ensure anything that happens even to the building itself, but anybody inside of it due to our actions. And then the county will do the same, anything due to theirs. So the example I used in my email that I sent Erica and Mr. Vaughn was on too, if we have a cooking class and the oven is left on or something and we burn down the building, we would of course cover that. If if there was new wiring or something in the building and the building burnt down because of that, that would be the county's responsibility. So that's basically how it's laid out as it is now. And it's always been like that.
So that leads to any suggestions, board?
Okay, but the EDC is going to be in there, right? So who's going to cover that? I understand MSU is going to cover But what about the E EDC?
I guess I won't speak. I think Jim Tussey said they are self-insured as well, if they work with MMRMA.
I don't recall if he said they were self-insured or not,
Okay.
but I do know he's with MMRMA.
Yeah.
Or they are. So, and when we had our renewal meeting recently, you know, he can't speak on behalf of them, but he said, you know, they meet the minimum requirements, which is all he could tell me. Okay, great. So I think we should have some sort of an indemnification clause in with EDC, or perhaps use some of the similar language from the MOA from MSU. But again, I think we just need to make it clear, for example, like Harley used, if somebody is there with, you know, to see EDC and something, and they fall down, who's ultimately responsible? Probably us if they, you know, they slipped in the parking lot. That would be the county. However, if, you know, something happened, EDC, you know, left the coffee pot on, well, now who's responsible for that? Those things need to be ironed out.
Yeah. So if somebody falls, you know, over a cord or something in one of our programs, because obviously the county didn't put the cord there, we did, we would cover that. You know, we're kind of responsible for anything that happens because of our actions, or, you know.
My only concern is that doesn't hold up in court to say, oh, I put that cord there, so therefore MSU is responsible. MSU's attorney and our attorney are going to be the ones who figure out who's ultimately responsible. So I would like something a little bit more defined, but again, this is the way we've always done it, and although I don't like that methodology, that's where we're at.
Nancy?
Anytime you have a contract agreement like that, you usually spell out all of those things in there, they're defined, you know, pretty detail. Otherwise, if you have a catastrophe, you're fighting amongst yourselves in the courtroom to determine, oh, I meant that, or I meant this, or I meant that. So you usually typically get that all in your agreement to start out from the get-go, so everybody knows what everybody's responsible for, you know, at the start.
Okay, got that? Well, is it, from the board's perspective, would you like your thoughts on having a with clause and without clause prepared for the next meeting to review, or?
I'd like to have it with clause.
So forget the one without clause, just have it with clause.
I mean, I understand MSU's point, but back again, EDC, I mean, it's like she said, if they tripped over a cord or whatever in the EDC, who's gonna be responsible?
I guess we'll have to wait to see what the with clause reads like to see if.
Well, Erica makes a good point. Unfortunately, the one with the deepest pockets is going to be responsible.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna concentrate.
Man, I'm sorry.
Okay, so proceeding, is there anything you'd like to do? And I think you're recommending put together, add the with clause to the agreement for the board to review.
I agree. I agree with
I
that.
agree.
Did I agree with that?
If I may, are we running it past EDC prior to bringing it to the board? Am I working in collaboration with EDC? Draft it, send it to you through email, include EDC for review, so we don't have to go another meeting and then now we're in December by the time it's went all around.
I think
So
that's a
I
good
can
idea.
proceed just
Very good
via email in that fashion?
Yeah.
I think it's fair to them too.
Yeah.
Yep, it's fair to them.
Thank you.
Keep them in the loop. Well, that was the other business, a little bit of extended, but certainly appreciate all the comments in the direction. Any other business? Hearing, seeing none, we'll move on.
Chairman,
Oh,
I-
yes.
do have the EDC bylaws, and in reviewing these briefly, it says the executive director shall be the chief operating officer of the organization. They should be in charge of day-to-day operations, organization and staff, employ staff within the budget. In the event that the executive director is vacant, the board of directors shall appoint a temporary director for the corporation. The board of directors has a responsibility for the oversight of the executive director to evaluate and review from time to time. If it is determined by just cause with a 75% affirmative vote, the executive director could be discharged. And then the executive committee shall conduct interviews and make recommendations to the board of directors for the new executive director. And then again, a 75% affirmative of the board of directors. So I'm not reading that as board of commissioners. I'm reading that as board of directors of EDC. In a different section, the board of directors of the corporation shall consist of not less than 9 persons, not more than 3 of whom shall be an officer or employee of the county of Tuscola. Members of the board of commissioners may serve on the board of directors. The director shall appoint for terms of 6 years. And then it goes through how to appoint those. So in reading this, the Board of Commissioners appoints the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors appoints the Executive Director. Mhm.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And that's what was being held in the meeting, is that they had, based on the bylaws, which nobody had at the time, but that I knew of, that Alicia wouldn't have to come to the board to be approved. And probably, if they should, I mean, if she did have, they probably should have waited until it got to the board. But, all right, we have to get that back to reaffirm that with Jim. Any questions unrelated to that? Okay.
I will send these out to you and Commissioner Vaughn, so you have them, since you serve on that commission.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more time, any other business? Hearing none. Okay, we'll move into extended public comments. Anyone would like to address the board at the end of the meeting? Extended public comment? Ashley Bennett, recognized.
I have just an update about the church, 202 West Burnside here in Carroll. In regards to the land bank, we have received the RFPs for the demolition of the church. And our next land bank is next Tuesday. If anybody is free Tuesday morning and would like to come give their opinions or suggestions, we have, I think there were like 5 or 6 that we received, with a recommendation from Huron County EDC director of who we should proceed with. That is who is administrating our grant. Once again, it's all grant funded. I believe every RFP fell within the range to use all of the state funds. There would be no cost to the county to get this accomplished, but it's exciting. We're hopeful to still have it done before the end of the year. But the liability will soon be gone, hopefully. So.
Thank you.
Any other extended public comment? Indicated there's none virtually as well, so if there's no more extended or public comment, we'll close and just have the record show that we offered public comment at the end. Now we're going to move into adjournment. There's a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Lutz to adjourn the meeting at 9:45. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are stand adjourned, and we'll be moving into the statutory finance here momentarily. 9:45, we'll call the statutory finance meeting to order. We'll have a roll call by Clerk Fedden.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrios?
Here.
Commissioner Barbell?
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn is absent. Commissioner Lutz?
Here.
Commissioner Cook?
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you, Clerk Fettig. Just give me a moment. All right. Moving into the agenda, action on previous meeting minutes. Are there any changes or updates to the statutory finance meeting minutes of October 16th, or is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Cook to approve the October 16th, 2025 minutes as provided. Statutory finance. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Statutory finance been approved. Minutes. Moving to new business, the first item is review and approval of finance report and checks, 10/30/25 financial docket. Discussion, is a motion to approve the finance report and checks.
Chair, I review and approve the financial report and checks, 10/30/25 financial docket.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Barrios to approve the finance report and checks for the 10/30/25 financial docket as provided. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the financial report and checks are approved. Then moving on to item 2, review and approval of daily report and checks of the 10/30/25 daily docket.
Mr. Chair, I make the motion to review and approve the daily report and checks, 10/30/25 daily docket.
Moved by Commissioner Cook, supported by Commissioner Barrios to approve the daily report and checks of 10/30/25 daily docket as provided. Is there any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the daily report and checks are approved as well. And lastly, item number 3 is review and approval of the per diem reports and checks, October 2025 per diems.
Mr. Chair, I review and approve of the per diems reports and checks, October 2025 per diems.
I'll support.
Moved by Commissioner Lutz, supported by Commissioner Cook to approve the per diem report and checks, October 2025 per diem as provided. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The per diem reports and checks are approved as well. Thank you for that. Moving to old business, we don't have any. Moving into public comment on statutory finance. Is there any public comment on statutory finance? Hearing or seeing none, we'll move into adjournment. Is a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Lutz, support by Commissioner Barrios to adjourn the statutory finance meeting at 9:50 a.m. Any further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.